doing out there? Let's go across and see how we're doing, making sure everything is where it needs to be. All right. IG is all set. Let's sometimes we gotta refresh. We gotta refresh in the meta universe. Indeed, indeed. Facebook is all set. Let's come over. Twitter. Hold on. Come on home. Oh goodness. No, 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 no. We good on Twitter. I gotta scroll down. We got some of the good, good. Twitter looks good. Make sure YouTube is on point. Gotta come back, right? Gotta get back to the right account. And we gotta check the channel. Yes, indeed. Very good. And last but not least, generally speaking, known for gaming, but my people in Twitch, can appreciate. Yes, indeed. Can appreciate sports commentary. And we're good on our socials. I hope you guys are good out there. Welcome to SandCity Sports. To the business. How is everybody out there doing on this Friday evening? TGIF. Yes. Woo! Month of March. Marzo. Okay. Where weeks can seem a little bit long. Got St. Patty's Day coming up. Looking forward to that. Connecting with my Irish brothers and sisters, Irish culture and heritage. Certainly enjoy it. My birthday is towards the end of the month in March, so we're looking forward to that. We're counting down. We're T-minus 2 weeks from my birthday towards the end of March, and yeah, getting ready in the Northeast at least to spring forward. In theory, today was a nice day. It was warm yesterday. I don't. Again, April showers bring May flowers. Is how I feel about it. You know what I mean? I don't get too. You know, I don't really get feel that warm sunshine enthusiasm until we break into May. Until then, this is winter's last hurrah, so to speak. So that's how I'm kind of navigating. But today was really nice, and we have the extra hour of sunshine, so I was able to get out with Willis and move around, which was good. But again, tomorrow I might be brick cold. You don't know. And also, here in the Northeast. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. SandCity Sports, by and for the fans. Your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. Yes, indeed. Excited for this Friday check-in because it's Friday. You know what I mean. So we can move and groove and go where the conversation takes us. Quite a bit to get to, because that madness has come about. Not. We don't want the shining madness. We don't need the Jack Nicholas madness. Shout out to Jack, who was out there doing autographs. I saw recently, which was pretty cool. You know what I mean, man of the people. We're not talking about that madness. We're not talking about the shining madness. We're talking about March Madness. Okay, which means we got college basketball moving in the full swing, which we're going to start with Duke, North Carolina tonight. Duke was able to edge them out without Mr. Flag, the flag man, Cooper, uh, in a quality ACC tournament when they were winning going away. All right, so we got a couple things we'll have to get to in this because North Carolina, stand up. When I was in school, we used to call it North Kakalaki. It sound Kakalaki was the terminology that we used. Maybe I'm dating myself, maybe not. Who knows? Uh, but the Tar Heels were getting run out the building, and then they stood firm. Shout out to Hubert Davis, the coach. Also see Sean May on the bench. Sean May, 2005. Again, I'm dating myself, but it's 20 years. It is what it is. It's been 20 years since that natty that really got North Carolina back on the right track. I want to get that for you on the screen because you have to see. Um, what I'm talking about. Um, that 2005 championship team with Sean May, Ray Felton, and of course Rashad McCants, who many of you know through Gil's Arena and what he's doing post basketball. This is again my time frame. Okay, being a proud class of 2000 grad. Um, remember those days vividly. Went to prep school, and then those are the years just after prep school. That's where Rashad McCants, I saw him play in prep school, played for New Hampton, um, notable prep school here in the New England region. I went to Winchington. Didn't hoop at Winchington, but you can, the basketball fandom, nerddom, whatever you want to call it. It was cool to kind of rub elbows against the Power Five, you know, and kind of see right those athletes that were really going to be ESPN guys. Um, and just to realize, they're people just like anybody else, right? The glorification and stardom in youth sports doesn't really, and this is I get caught up in it still, which is kind of absurd. Get caught up in it still. Um, let's get this imagery on the screen because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you about the 2005 Tar Heels, and we're going to talk about the game. Number of things to get to in the game. Good game. Uh, two. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Can we get the 2000? Can Google even do that? I'm going back. We got to go back to '02. Small world that it is. You know who was a 2002 All American as well? Dating myself, but I don't mind. I won Mr. JJ Redick. I won Mr. JJ Redick, who I see on the screen here. Not the greatest um, production right now. I don't like when I have to wait to get things for you on the screen. But let's get JJ up here first, and then we'll move and groove from there in terms of right. We'll move and groove from there because we're going to talk about college. And the intro to college is obviously the Duke North Carolina game. A couple things that I hold on because that's not even the right. Let me because I go over and then uh okay. So this is good. This is good. You can see it in real time and then discuss. Right, folks? Very nice, right? Recognize that guy here? Mr. Reddick, uh, who was a pure, when you talk about just pure shooters, just the form, the touch. I mean, he was always like that. You could just remember seeing it, he was just always. Uh, this gentleman, we know this guy here, who then brought prosperity to Syracuse University the very next year. Brought prosperity. Torrin Francis, we know him in the Commonwealth. He went to Tabor Academy, which is right in Mattapoisett, right near the Cape. So small world that it is. Torrin Francis, Tabor. I believe he played for Mike Bray. I believe Mike Bray was the coach at Tabor Academy in those days. Mike Bray of Notre Dame fame. Okay, if I'm not right in terms of how you build yourself up. JJ and one Mr. Felton taking their talents to those schools.
Carmelo Anthony, Turin Francis, Jason Frazier up front with Raymond Felton and J.J. Redick in the backcourt.
Keep an eye on J.J. Redick. What a stroke this guy has. Look, can he shoot the basketball? Services for the next 4 years, he hopes.
Yeah, that's right. Amazing how this has changed. Here's J.J. Redick headed to Duke with a steal. Oh, mainly as a shooter, but he hands off to Anthony for an emphatic jam. Anthony out of Oak Hill.
Felton, Amari.
You see a game like this, most of the time you're seeing guards take long-range jumpers. What we've seen in those two plays are pretty good passes. J.J. Redick with a nice drop-down pass to the cutter.
Stars of yesteryear, folks. Quick shout out. But we talking about that because again, Sean May, who we didn't get a chance to see right there, but just believe, he's on the Tar Heels coaching staff. Tar Heels losing a close game, difficult loss because we had the lane violation. Could have tied the game, but if it's in butts with candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, right? So they tie the game. It's a much different, that would just because they were down once, they had to foul, hit 2 free throws, and they had to go for 3, right? You tie the game, you can play straight up. You can play straight up because there's only, 4 seconds to go. Um, so these game of inches. I feel for the Tar Heels nation in that regard. But I'm also feeling for Tar Heels nation because they keep getting mollywopped and smacked around by Duke. These games are not competitive. Okay, Duke beat the brakes off of them in the North Carolina, Carolina game, regular season matchup over at Duke. And now, the Blue Devils just kind of running away with it. And so the point for me that, I just, right, what do they say? ABC, always be closing. Shout out to Glengarry Glenn Ross. Always be closing. Okay? Right? You think this is abuse? You think this is abuse? If you can't take this, how can you take the abuse on a sit? Glengarry Glenn Ross. For the people. And what this has to do with Duke, in my opinion, in my mind, is how is John Shire out here mastering NIL in the modern college game? A new jack, Mr. John Shire. When veteran and quote-unquote traditional coaches are not only just leaving the profession, but having trouble keeping up. And as we talk about the young guy coming in, John Shire, who I liked, when he, at his press conference, what did he say? I'm not afraid to be the guy after the guy. That's what he said at his press conference. And it's pretty. Duke was on the verge of a Final Four last year. A lot of people thought, they had beaten the Wolfpack previously. The Wolfpack just got so hot, super duper, white heat hot, and wouldn't be denied to get to the Final Four. And the Wolfpack, right? We don't know. It's almost a hockey type of scenario now. A couple things we have to get to in college sports, but just let's note that story from last. Wolfpack had 10 losses, got hot, put it together. Guys finally started pulling together. Final Four over a John Shire-led Duke team who was ready. And they're going to be ready next year with the Boozer brothers coming in. Okay, but what sticks out, and we're going to get back over to Carolina, when Mr. John Shire and the individual who we were just watching, Mr. J.J. Redick, in their first head coaching experience, have both, now I know it's just year one for JJ, but the Lakers, okay, are talking about home court advantage in a Western Conference that's loaded with teams in the play-in and out of the playoffs with veteran coaches and tons of talent. Sure, JJ was gifted, a generational all-time great in Luka Doncic, but still, the Lakers were a 4-5 seed before Luka got there. So shout out to JJ, respect on his name. Over to John Shire. Different scenario, right? Because JJ obviously played in the NBA, a guy that carved out a role for himself in order to have that long NBA career because he wasn't the guy coming out of Duke. Interesting, look at back, in terms of his time at Duke, had his ups and downs. Best year was his sophomore year when Luol Deng came in, right? Luol Deng, who was, dating myself, don't care, the number 2 player in the class of 2003 behind. Do we remember? And we got to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers smacking the Grizzlies around tonight, scoring 130 points. Donovan Mitchell not even out there. Doesn't even seem to matter. Again, coaching doesn't matter, right? I'm just going to continue to reiterate that for as long as the day is, as the day is long, I'm just going to keep coming back to that. Not only because I'm furious with myself for not going all in on the Cavaliers because I'm a Kenny Atkinson guy. And it seems like I'm a bandwagon jumper, but I know for a fact I'm not a bandwagon jumper. Did I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers were going to take the NBA by storm and usurp the Boston Celtics? No, I did not. Am I surprised? No, I am not. Kenny Atkinson's a first-rate coach, been a first-rate coach. Back to when he was in Brooklyn, you know what I mean? When these statements were made about not needing coaches. Then he took his talents to the Clippers, right? Then he was headhunted. Okay, when we talk about the game behind the game, how Daddy Warbucks, Mr. Steve Ballmer, headhunted Jerry West from Golden State. By the way, Joe Lacob, Celtics 2008 championship. We gonna be a lightning round. You know, it's almost rapid fire now. How's everybody out there doing? Hope everybody's, you know what I mean. We talking a lot to get to here on SandCity Sports on this Friday. Hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good day. Sometimes, what do they say? You know, I follow. I don't. You know what I mean. I follow different Hubs life on the gram. One of the guys. You know, normalizing the norm. Shout out to Hubs life. He does a good job. It's interesting. You know, I think he's going into, you know, had a number. You know, I think he's doing full time content now. He's got himself to that point. Tip my hat to you. You know, started off with slice of life stuff, just quote on his thing, normalizing the norm. We'll get Hub's life for you. You know, I keep some referencing things, but then, you know, one of the things he noted, I said, "Oh, that's a gem." He said, "The days are long and the years are short." Our days seem so super duper, but then the years you look up, doggone it, it's been a time. Days long, years short. Right? So we're going back a little bit. But the Celtics won a championship in '08. Joe Lacob, now the owner of the very good. Yes, Sam. I'm not. I mean, you know this stuff. I'm not acting like I'm some kind of genius. But Joe Lacob, owner of the Golden State Warriors, you know, leaves the Celtics after the '08 championship, comes over, takes over the Golden State Warriors. What's the first thing he does? First thing he does is go get Mr. Jerry West. Okay, Jerry, Lakers, you've been with the Lakers. Come on up to Golden State. We need you. We need you, Jerry. And so Jerry West was the architect, yes, of the Golden State dynasty. Responsible for many a dynasty. The Magic dynasty, Jerry. The Kobe dynasty, Jerry. The Steph dynasty, Jerry. The Clippers should have been dynasty in the bubble, Jerry. But Joe Lacob said, come on up and let's get this thing right. Okay, Steph Curry was there. People don't remember. Monta Ellis didn't want to play with Steph. Steph wasn't, quote unquote, about that life, all that talk, you know. Kind of innuendo, Steph Curry, because that's how he came into the league. Let's not forget. Steph Curry, you know, he didn't start. Right? We're gonna make this connection to youth sports and the phenoms. Right? And what that phenomery, that's not even a word, but what the phenomery does to people when everything is always, you know, you always have the rose petals, you always have the Prince Akeem treatment. Shout out to Coming to America. The late, great James Earl Jones. Classic. They did the reboot because they kind of had to, but, you know, you can't touch the classic from the awesome 80s. What did James Earl Jones say? Let them wait. He said, I am talking to my son. Let them wait. That opening scene in Coming to America. Stop that with the rose. 80s gold. You heard me? So, you know what I mean? Just out of this world, folks. He said, let them wait. I am talking to my son. Classic. But the point of fact is, folks, that, right? When you have the rose petals and everything given, that was not Steph Curry's journey. Let's not forget. Came to the league, you know, and there was some subtle stuff that Steph Curry is not like us. Yes. Go back and look. Monta Ellis, who was the guy at that particular point in time, a holdover from, you know, the Baron Davis, you know, where really put the Warriors on the map, that Don Nelson team in '07, you know, that got good Dallas up and out of there. Monta Ellis was the last vestige of that, and he wasn't warming to Steph Curry. I don't know if we can play together. Jerry West said, okay, fine. If that's how you feel about it, okay, good to know. Let's go get this kid from Washington State, this Thompson, mid-first round. Let's go get that second rounder from Michigan State, undersized forward. Let's go get that young man from the Carolina, speaking of Carolina, Mr. Harrison Barnes. Let's bring in the gentleman from Philadelphia, Mr. Iguodala. You can't get down with the collective movement, the we first movement, the pass first, positive movement. You can't. I ain't gonna. You know, I saw a good clip with Cam Newton. Just a quick aside. His podcast is off the charts. He has a businessman. Name escapes me. It's not Bob Johnson. It's not Bob Johnson who paid for the college tuition for the graduating class at Morehouse a couple years ago. Shout out to Bob Johnson. Okay. In terms of what's going on, some colleges are saying free, which is thank you. On the other hand, the price of everything is just through the freaking ceiling, roof, atmosphere. You know, these billionaires trying to already got their sights set on Mars and everything else. Craziness. But Bob, Cam, the hat. Shout out to I see the person that's in tune, checked in with us. Appreciate you. On the YouTube, check in, like, comment, subscribe, jump in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. If you want to jump on the pod, we put the link in the chat. Come through, positive, productive, all that other type of good stuff. Appreciate you very much. So, all day, every day. Okay, we're talking college, but somehow from college we have to make the connection where we're discussing the process, trusting the process, trusting that process. And Steph Curry, and we're going to come all the way back to Duke in North Carolina. But Steph Curry, folks, you know what I mean? It took his ankles. He had ankle problems, and he had to, and to be who he is now, on that Mount Olympus level. But that wasn't. And so, that's a big thing for me when we talk about youth and phenoms and NIL and what's going on in college, which we're going to come back to. Having, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. As a coworker told me years ago, never forgot it. Why you got to be careful what you wish for? Why do you have to be careful what you wish for, folks? Because you might get it. Now what? That comfort and complacence is sweep through like a bandit. You ain't hungry. You don't have that. I'm gonna show them in you. You don't have that. How dare you? You don't have that. You ain't have that illmatic. Okay, not that it was written Nas, the illmatic Nas. Like, what? You gonna disrespect me? You not that when everything is just is right there for you. Okay. So what's the connection all the way back to John Shire? We talking about visionaries and building things. Joe Lacob, minority owner of the Celtics, 08, now the owner of the Golden State Warriors. First move, bringing Jerry West, dynasty built in perpetuity. Daddy Warbucks, that Steve Ballmer, said, wait a minute. Can't beat him? Join him. I got to make that Godfather offer. Steve Ballmer looked around, said, we can't beat them. They're going to join us. Daddy Warbucks came over to Jerry West and said, I need to talk to you. I need to talk. And that's the clip that I'm talking about from Cam. He's just talking about some of these. Oh, somebody's in the chat. What's good? I appreciate that. What's going on in the chat? Yes, indeed. Yes. We got, yes. There's a lot of, okay. You had to, I was teaching during COVID. Yes, this was class. If we remember, it's crazy. That was 21, right? Been 4 years. And then, 2020 was the first COVID, and then 2020 and 2021 was hybrid, Let me just get back. That's true. Yes, indeed. I always appreciate the, best and brightest checking in with us. Okay. And then just thinking back, right? We do the pod, this is by the fans, for the fan. Let me just, on that note, let me just let folks know that we are doing this. Should they want to jump in, just let them know, because it's time difference on the West Coast. It's only 7:30. It's still light outside on the left. It's only 7:30. What I mean, daylight savings, so it's only 7:30 out there in the West Coast. We 10:30, but it's a Friday, so we're gonna move and groove. We're gonna Sunday on this Friday, SandCity Sports. We doing what we doing. Okay. We getting back, we making a connection back, but let's right. Daddy Warbucks come and he brought Jerry in. I need you. Made the Godfather offer, and then Jerry built up the Clippers into a championship team. We forget that Clippers team because, first of all, they missed out on the opportunity to win a championship in the bubble, up 3-1 against Denver, and then they were just never healthy after that. But Jerry's the one. Real trades happen in silence. Now we know what he was giving up. He knew what he was giving up in terms of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2025 NBA MVP. He knew, but he had to get Paul George home, back to to you know what I mean, to compete for that championship. That's what he had to do. And again, this is 1920 going into the pandemic, right? 5 years in the rears, just craziness. It's about this time. I think today might be the 5 year anniversary. Actually, it's the 14th. It might be 5 years. I have to check. If it's not, it's this week to the day where the world shut down. That's wild. 5 years. And it may have been it's around this time. Because I remember the youth tournaments were happening and people were like, I don't know. And at first, and Rudy Gobert was touching the microphones, right? We didn't know, and then, it started off as 2 weeks. They said school's going to be closed for 2 weeks. And then some districts just said, no, and every district was just trying to, okay, it was going to be 2 weeks. Okay, it's going to be a month. Okay, and then, I remember some districts were just like, we're done for the year. In March, we're done. We're done. And people were like, what? Right? It was wild. Government had to come and, get people to, it was wild. Those times, just thinking back, that you lived through it, in real time. Just things to be open, social distance. Wow. But 5 years ago, unbelievable. And we're gonna make it back. Cleveland Cavaliers game just finished up. We got a couple other things, Big East tournament, so on and forth. But yeah, so Steve Ballmer came and got Jerry West, and the rest is history. But the same was true for Kenny Atkinson. Reverse. Brooklyn didn't need a coach, so Kenny was like, "Okay, I'm still gonna do my thing. Come to a first-rate organization, the Clippers, as their lead assistant, doing the player development." And we always mention Sean Fine, pride of Barnstable High School, class of '96, who's now a director of player development for the Clippers. You can see him on the second bench. Okay, on his just coaching journey, he's going to be an NBA person, NBA now lifer. He's established himself after playing professionally overseas, after playing at Georgia Tech, after being a Division II player. Pride of Barnstable, Massachusetts. Sean Fine, Red Raider. Okay, so Sean connected with Kenny, right, and was the G League head coach in Brooklyn. And then so when Kenny went to LA, Sean went to LA. And then Joe Lacob came and got Kenny Atkinson. Said, we need you. We need you. And Sean stayed, right? So Kenny was, on the bench. And Kenny was after, I believe that was Mike Brown was there when they won the championship against the Celtics, unfortunately. And then Mike Brown went to take over Sacramento and build them up. And then Sacramento wanted to become a dumpster fire. Okay, and so when they lost Mike Brown, that's when they brought in Kenny Atkinson. Right? And he just was there and was integral and doing his thing. And Charlotte said, Kenny, we need you. And he's like, all right, I'm out. And then Joe Lacob made him another Godfather offer. No, you're going to stay. Charles Lee, Celtics assistant, is down there trying to make the most in Charlotte, build them up. But then finally the Cleveland job opened up and Kenny's like, I'm out. Right? And people forget last year. Cleveland, good, kept getting smacked around by my New York Knicks. My Knicks was laying hands on them. Yeah, Tibbs. Yeah, good team, but yeah. Now shoes on the other foot, but still okay. But Cleveland ended the year after my Knicks, got him up out of there, and Darius Garland said, I'm out. I will not play with Donovan Mitchell under any circumstances. I'm done. Is that a thing anymore? Do we even? Right, that's what Kenny Atkinson came into. The backcourt just saying, I will not speak to this other person, i.e. baseball, 25 guys, 25 caps. Do not look in my direction, was the locker room culture he came into. Talent, dysfunction. Okay, we've forgotten all that now, as they've won 16 straight games and just smacking teams. Okay, we don't want to say, particularly in the Commonwealth, that they're the favorites to win the championship. Right, because that's closing the Celtics dynastic window when it really shouldn't be closed, given the fact that they have Drew Holiday's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay, but they have three. I'm sorry, Drew, but I'm sorry. We got to keep it 100. Jason Tatum, first ballot Hall of Famer. Because, right, everybody's not first ballot. Don't even get me started. Okay, don't even get me started. It's not the Hall of Good, it's the Hall of Fame. Okay, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, say no more. This is what first ballot looks like. Okay. Others, you'll get in, but you ain't first ballot. You ain't unanimous. So saying it that way, I don't know if the Celtics will have any, right? But they have guys that are going to get in the hall, in my view. Jason, JT, JB, and I believe Drew as well. And then, of course, Derek White is no slouch. Brad Stevens move. Crispy P, no slouch. The bench doesn't blow your socks off, but there's continuity there, togetherness, efficiency, effectiveness. We don't want to say it, but Celtics are not the favorites. And it doesn't look like they're the favorites in the Eastern Conference. They played well against Cleveland. That's the only, right? They played well, but Cleveland, they went ahead and brought in DeAndre Hunter too. Arms, going for it. Dan Gilbert. Got Karis LeVert off the bench. Like they have dudes. Celtics have, good players for us. Hauser, Pritchard, love them. Al, they're not dudes. I'm sorry, they're not. Okay? Pound for pound, you're going to talk about a DeAndre Hunt, a top 10 pick, who's motivated under Kenny Atkinson's system against a Hauser, or you already know what the deal is. We like our hometown guys, but, so there's that. All right, what does this have to do with college basketball, folks, in the Duke, North Carolina game? Okay, and all the way back to rolling with the punches and changing with the tides. Okay? First of all, John Shire looks like he could play at Duke right now. You look at the guy. I'll get him for you on the screen. Hope everybody out there is doing well on this check-in. I got to move. That one NBA game finished up. Another NBA game is coming to you. We on the Friday check-in for SandCity Sports. We're what? We got okay. Arizona and Texas Tech. When did these guys get into the same conference? Okay, Arizona and Texas Tech. I like it. Kings and the Suns, two play-in teams. What are we gonna do here? I gotta go NBA. I gotta stay to my roots here. Arizona, Texas Tech. You know what I mean? Not just because I just came from the Valley of the Sun. Not just because I'm flabbergasted at the Suns and their dysfunction. Start of the second quarter in Phoenix. We can dig it. Shout out to Talking Stick Arena. We can dig it. Shout out to the fact that the rumors that are going around that are got my ears perking up. Not good for the people in Phoenix, but hey, it's Devin Booker going to Detroit, heading back to the Midwest to his Michigan roots. I love that. Not for the Suns, hurts for the Suns, but doggone it, what the heck are you doing? You talking about championship window? Talk about being up 2-0 against Milwaukee. Talk about giving up a lead and getting smacked in Game 7 at home by the Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic. Thick boy Luka. Do we forget? Championship window, close, shut. Mont Ishbia comes in, wants to reignite, brings in Durant, brings in Beal on a terrible deal, but brings him in. Catch lightning in a bottle. Got Monty didn't want to coach. He was out, brought in Vogel, who's a good coach. Got rid of Vogel, brought in Coach Bud, who's a good coach. Still can't get right. Talk about Booker going to Detroit, teaming him up with Cade and Jalen Duren under the capable leadership of Bernie Bickerstaff. JB Bicker, oof. I'm picking that up. I don't like it for Phoenix losing their franchise player, but that would be something, if it's gotten to that point, and Booker, Phoenix is a great city, great, but he's been there his whole career, and it just hasn't, they're rebuilding. They're gonna have to rebuild again because this ain't working, and you can't do anything with Bradley Beal, who's a guy that has to go, but he has no trade clause, and you want to catch lightning in the bottle and be that new hotness, and now you're stuck because one guy that has to go, you can't move. So the two guys that you want to keep are just, I'm out. Ain't got time for this. We still trying to win championships. KD is still trying to win championships. Get that, Golden State, right? Because those are not really considered championships. Then he, you know what I mean? Picked the wrong horse. Kyrie wasn't ready. It would have been amazing, frankly, thinking about it, right, folks? You can't really, but if Kevin Durant could have First of all, if they had it right there. And we'll just keep saying this over and over and over again because they had it all there. If they had just stood firm and not allowed, i.e., the Miami Heat, LeBron wanted to get rid of Spoelstra. He'd have gone to 2 NBA finals since LeBron left. Have they won? But still, doing it their way, they've been to 2 NBA finals. 2. Hold on. Is it 2? Yeah, it's 2 because they were in the finals in the bubble. Are you kidding me? 2 NBA finals to make in the post LeBron era when you don't tank and you don't get like another big time free agent. Jimmy Butler is their big catch, and they've gone to 2 NBA finals. Are you kidding me? And we're going to get rid of that coach and that organizational model because you didn't get LeBron a milkshake at Denny's and he's angry at you? What? Pat Riley was like, later for that. I won't even consider it. And you can leave. Even though you're LeBron. Goodbye. And imagine if Chris Bosh hadn't had the build, they could have built around Bosh. And Brooklyn is just gonna Kenny Atkinson, you can go. You didn't order the extra set of fries for Kyrie at Nathan's hot dog. He's angry with you. You have to leave now. You can't coach anymore. Or you might have ordered the fries, but he wanted the spicy fries, and you only got the regular fries. So now Kyrie is angry with you, Kenny Atkinson. You can't coach here no more. When we're bringing in Kevin Durant and James Harden. So back to KD and why he has to get up out of Phoenix. Okay? Because, you know what I mean? He joined a 73-win team. He doesn't get credit for those championships. He just doesn't. And everybody, he knows it and everybody else knows it. And he partnered, Kevin, you know what I mean? He partnered with Kyrie. But my point with all this is imagine if KD had got the Kyrie under Jason Kidd's leadership. Jason Kidd, the first coach in the NBA ever to unlock Kyrie. He's torched a number of franchises right here in Boston. Is one. Torched that championship team. Never mind the Gordon Hayward injury, which was awful. But they all came back the next year. They could have been a championship team. Kyrie destroyed JT, JB, Big Al, Gordon Hayward. The culture in Boston was abysmal. I don't even know what Archimedean means. Draconian is the word I'm looking for. Is how the Celtics culture and locker room was in Kyrie's last year with the Sage. I mean, just can you imagine, right? Just going into a workplace with just that one bad apple that absolutely spoils the bunch. Irrevocably. If that's, you know what I mean? We forget that here in Boston. Kyrie's last, just what the Celtics, the first year when the Celtics were good when he was out, right? And made moves and he wasn't around to support them, all those subliminals. But then the next year when he was here, and you had guys that they brought in the Morris brothers, it was just, but Danny Ainge wouldn't, wanted to hold on, because Danny Ainge was trying to go for the mega deal and get Kevin Durant. Kyrie was like, forget that. I'm not doing it in Boston because you didn't get me the whatever. You didn't get me the spicy chicken sandwich. You got me the regular, whatever it was that, you know what I mean? When Kyrie gets in that other way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, that other Kyrie, the zombie Kyrie, whatever, when he's just determined to be the contrarian without a cause, the supreme diva up there with Diana Ross, he's just going to tank your entire organization. He did the Celtics. Then he went to Brooklyn, and he did the same thing to Brooklyn. Joe Tsai was like, I would rather lose. Joe Tsai finally just, you know what I mean, tried to appease. It's almost like one of these dysfunctional relationships. Joe Tsai, appease. And finally, Joe Tsai is like, you know what? Push me. How you think I got to the point of owning an NBA team coming from Asia and doing what I do? You talking to? I'm trying, and now I'm putting on the other mask. I'm putting on the other face. All right? Ground your behind into dust. How dare you? And then Joe Tsai, you know what I mean, came through with that old school real leadership. KD, Kyrie, whoever, you can get the smoke. Okay? You're on ice. You want to walk around, being, we'll get to you when we get to you. I want to go to Phoenix. Kevin Durant was saying, we'll let you know. Enjoy the bench. Now, Durant, more diplomatic and, you know what I mean, pragmatic, you know what I mean? Got to where he needed to go. Kyrie going to Dallas, that was at the time when they made the deal, it was like Dallas was reaching at straws. This is not going to work. And guess what? Shout out to Mark Cuban. Shout out to... Shoot, I don't want to drop my... Hold on. Dog on it. Excuse me. Bring this over here. Sorry, folks. My comb fell. Is the 5-second rule still in effect? I think it is. Oh, dust. All right. Hold on. 5-second rule? Still? Hold on. Let me brush it off a little bit. I gotta, you know what I mean? I'm one of those people. I gotta brush it off. At least the back. Getting excited. Maybe the excitement. Yeah, to my man, talk, buddy from high school. So you got to do something. Talking about my birthday. Birthday's coming up. Let me just brush this comb off. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna comb my hair. I don't need to comb. Let me put this back where it was. I don't look at things. I was going in on Kyrie, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe, but maybe not. You know, like maybe, hey, who am I? Right? Maybe that was a little bit of karma coming, you know, because when you start getting on your high horse talking about the next person, you know that karma is coming at you quick. But my point with all this was that how does Jason Kidd unlock that guy who burned through those two? We haven't even talked about the Cleveland teams before LeBron got to Cleveland. Mike Brown, no. Byron Scott, no. How he just burned through coaches before. All right, and Cleveland burned through some number one picks, drafting Anthony Bennett. We haven't forgotten that. But Kyrie was not getting along with anybody. And Jason Kidd somehow, last year, Kyrie, his team first, his just efficiency, their system, which was perfect for Kyrie and Luka, 5 out, spread, put people on islands and cook them, crack the defense, start the blender, kicking it around, getting that open three and hitting it. Energy players, 3 and D guys, right? So you're playing 3s versus 2s, and you have, again, Mike D'Antoni. If we're going to talk about unlocking people, James Harden used to be a shooting guard until Mike D'Antoni put an end to that. We might forget that. James Harden was a shooting guard in his career until Mike D'Antoni said, no, you're the quarterback. And then the MVPs and the rest of it followed after that. It was Mike D'Antoni that unlocked prime Harden. And Jason Kidd who unlocked prime Kyrie. Different backgrounds. Because, again, we go back to it, Oklahoma City. We can't keep James Harden because we got to keep Serge Ibaka. Sam Presti, all due respect. You missed on that one. Now, Sam Presti's team, which by the way is younger than the Auburn team, we are going to get back to college sports about 45 minutes into this check, and we are going to get back to college sports, okay, and how it's changed, But Sam Presti's team, which is younger than Auburn, and still has like 21st round picks that he's sitting on. But he got the Harden deal wrong, but still. Okay, what does all this have to, you know what I mean? So just credit to Kidd. A further just annihilation in terms of this Luka deal, which is madness. Absolute, utter madness. You got 2 confident, egotistical, ball-dominant, offensive phenom players, and you get them to play together in a common effort, in a scheme that fits them, that just befuddles teams that are better. Minnesota was the better team last year. They went home. Okay? They were winning. They were beating teams. Dallas should not have gone to the finals last year. It should have been Minnesota who dethroned the Denver Nuggets. And if it wasn't Minnesota, it should have been Denver. It was the Dallas Mavericks under the capable leadership of Jason Kidd, who got the Suns out as well in their championship window. Go home. Window close. Okay? Go get your binky. And we're going to blow that up. We can't leave well enough alone. Madness. All right? Point of fact, though, we just imagine if KD, who needs a championship, which is why he's out of Phoenix, even though they're playing right now, and they're, goodness gracious. They got some pretty bad ranks across a number of different things. Coach Bud's still a good coach, though, but goodness gracious. KD, right? Imagine if he had gotten Kyrie, like the right Kyrie, the right coach, and a right system, not just like a dude. We're just gonna bring in Steve Nash because he's a good guy. We like him. We'll listen to him because he plays video games with us at night. Even though that coaching staff is ridiculous with MA, with Mike D'Antoni, with Jacques Vaughn, but still, the culture over there, and KD had a part to play in that. One flew. I can't even. It's just madness. I've used that word enough. I'm going to use something else. But just the mindset in terms of how you have to coddle people and coddle them and coddle them and coddle them again in order for them to show up to work. What's going on? I appreciate. Yeah, because that was the one chat. I appreciate you. Okay? But you think, just imagine what's going on with people on Facebook. I appreciate the folks that's liked. Yes, appreciate the reactions, very much so. Jump in the comments, let me know. I gotta do a better job of checking across my socials. On the gram is going well. Twitter, yep. Tube, and all right, we're going. It's a Friday night. I hope everybody's doing all right on a Friday. Saying we this is a Friday, baby. So we gonna go till we have to go. And we are gonna get back to college sports. But KD, Phoenix. I don't know. I just feel like next year, after this dumpster fire, what can Booker might put his foot down. I want to be in Detroit, make it happen. And it's great because you have to bring in a third because Detroit's not going to trade you Cade because the point is to package to put Booker and Cade together. And if I was them, I wouldn't give up Jalen Durant either. They got a bunch of they got one of the Thompsons who's an up and coming player. They got Jaden Ivey, or Ivy, excuse me from mispronouncing. They got some guys, so they can put some things together to give to Phoenix. But from the Suns, back to square one. And where Durant will land is another interesting story. I was saying, okay, see, that's not happening. All right, because they already got their thing going on. So no. Thanks, but no thanks. So where can Kevin Durant? Where does he fit in? He's gonna go to. It seems like the Lakers already got Luka, so but that's too many of the guys to do the same thing, even though they do it well. But that's kind of too much, right? But maybe it's not. But Kevin Durant's gonna have to be, because the ball, it's Luka's show, and then LeBron. It could work theoretically. It could. Folks checking in. Just let them know. Brother might check in from the Western. I let people know late, but you know what I mean? But I let them know. And folks are welcome to jump on if they want. Don't have to share your screen. Jump on with your takes. Keep it positive. Keep it productive. And you know what I mean. This is we doing buying for the people right now. That's what we're doing. All right. Now, the return to college basketball went all around the world, from London to the Bay. Hammer go, and the rest can go and play. All right. We got to talk about this man, and by this man I mean Jon Scheyer. Okay. Talk about Mr. Scheyer. Pride of. He's from Illinois, greater Chicago area. Not Chicago proper, but one of the surrounding, right? And he's living it. He's talking it. He's walking it. One of these guys, like Dan Campbell looks like he can play defensive end today. Jon Scheyer looks like he can come in and play small forward today. Just get out there and hoop. I was thinking about it, it's like I imagine him not training with the team, but having a personal trainer, like the training staff also having to make sure that he is in peak shape along with the players, which sends a message. Um, but bottom line, with Shire, never mind the fact that he's having success. When a lot of people thought that it should have been Tommy Amaker who took over after Coach K, and that process, Coach K kind of had to be the godfather in that process and say, "Look, this is the succession plan. Period. End of story." And in my view, they're winning, and so they're getting it right. But I feel like Coach K is like the coach emeritus, i.e., when Dean Smith left and they brought in Matt Doherty, who wasn't the right coach. Then Dean Smith finally, went to Roy Williams and said, "Carolina needs you." Roy Williams left Kansas to come to Carolina to bring back prosperity, right? And Dean Smith, is just kind of like the coach emeritus. He has the input, he has, and what he, but he doesn't have to do to have the 70-hour weeks that it takes to coach at that level, right? Okay, connection is strong, very good. But with John, I just he is navigating. Maybe it is because he's younger, folks. It's a good game tonight, Duke and Carolina. Can anybody name any player besides Cooper Flagg on either of those teams? We know Cooper Flagg. Who the heck else plays for Duke? Now, again, basketball people, Luol Deng's got one of his, countrymen on the team, and this kid Knepp, I followed him vis-a-vis the EYBL circuit out of Wisconsin. I knew who he was. I know Elliot Kadu for the Tar Heels, who played for the New York Lightning and was a ball, New York Lightning were ridiculous, and he was one of their standout players. Left EYBL for went his senior year and just, he gray shirted. So he was a top player as a junior and was just like, "I'm out," and next thing you know, he had graduated and was at Carolina. So he's younger, but a force. Elliot could do. I don't know. And this is for like basketball people. Point of fact, though, it's not. This transfer portal needs to be put in check. It does. NIL, get your money, fine, but it cannot be every year. It's a new team for every team. Never mind the fact, like I was saying, Bruce Perry, we're talking about the average age for Auburn is like 26. This is supposed to be college sports. You that's 2 college educations. If like you start at 18, so you do the first 4 and then you do another 4, or like did you go to be? How are you 26? And like we're still having eligibility. Shouldn't you be in the G League? College sports needs to get their arms around this transfer portal. I'm happy for Rick Pitino and the fact, but Rick Pitino kept it 100. He's like, the reason we're good this year is because we got this player from that school, that player from that school, this player from the other school. We're loaded. Next year, we start from scratch. Danny Hurley said the same thing. It's UConn, back-to-back national championships. We're in the mix again. Half the team is about to be gone. All right, we take it a step further. There are NIL agents out there, NIL agents that represent these players that are taking exorbitant fees, right? NBA, I think it's like 3 to 5%. These NIL guys getting 10, 15% of the deal, getting you know what I mean? But again, if you're a kid, if you're a player and you have, you're not, you see what I'm saying? You're leaving. I have this agent, and I'm just because I'm not going to the NBA. Even I'm going to have a good college experience, but I'm not going pro. So I need to get all the money that I can in this 4 years, no matter how it has to go down. So I leave this year, I leave that year, I wait for a little bit, I leave again. Everybody, it's just it is literally a casino royale. Nobody knows who we know the teams. Like, yes, Carolina, yes, like we can identify with the teams. Nobody knows who the heck, right? I just talked about Sean May and Ray Felton and Rashad McCants, who were All-Americans in 2002, who played 3 years at North Carolina, who were started with Brad Dory, who went to Roy Williams. The team didn't have had some chemistry issues. Rashad McCants was a notable part of that. They still came together to win the Natty in 05, beating, amongst others, Louisville with a kid named Francisco Garcia, who you guys might not know, but I know because he's a prep school kid. Okay? You knew the players on the team, their background, their development, playing for Carolina. All of that is just gone. And it's not even that it's a minor league. It is a buck wild, just capitalism on steroids, free market madness minor league. Like, there is no continuity anywhere. And never mind the fact, like, how are these guys even staying eligible? You go to school for a half a semester, then you transfer to another school. You didn't even finish a year or a semester at the one school. Then it's like a semester by semester proposition. How are they even eligible? If I was only going to be in a school for a semester and I had all the responsibility, I'm not going to class. I'm not doing anything. I'm only here for what? It was hard enough to help get college guys to do work when they were staying in one place for 4 years. Now they're staying there for like 4 months. There needs to be 2 years. Wherever you go, you stay for 2 years. Or they have to bring back you sit out for a year. It just, I wasn't, but I can see why that rule, and, folks like Dabo Sweeney, you know what I mean? And it was just too much. The transfer portal, more so than NIL, is what is ruining college sports. NIL is long overdue. Transfer portal that snuck in with NIL, no. Get all your money. You have to sit out a year if you transfer. You can transfer, or you can't. It can only be the one transfer. You can't keep transferring multiple times. But it just has to be, everybody. And then are the institutions out of this? Talk about Texas with their own network. What the heck does Texas belong in the SEC for? And these mega conferences that have no geographic relation. Next thing you know, Hawaii is in the ACC. Hawaii is in the Big East. I mean, it's out of control. Check out the 7-5. Great documentary. Okay, the 7-5 BK. Also check out Brooklyn's Finest, which we're going to Antoine Fuqua. Okay. Bro might jump on. We're at an hour. We haven't even touched the NFL on this. Suns, Kings have come back. It's a 2-point game. A bottle of the basement over here. Two teams that were supposed to be in championship contention, battling for just to make it to the play-in, to get knocked out of the play-in or get destroyed in the first round by OKC. You kidding me? Sacramento just couldn't got 18 small forwards, fired a good coach in Mike Brown. Good luck to you. And the Suns, it's just known. But back to college, right? Those that can be successful and Bruce Pearl, lifer, Kelvin Sampson at Houston, lifer, that are just riding these waves to get to the tournament, which we try to have like some nostalgia and some like sense of time and place with the tournament. But in all honesty, it's nobody knows anybody. We'll hold on to this Cooper Flag story because that seems familiar, and he's even though he's a one and done kid, but a good kid from Maine, number 1 overall pick. We can kind of connect with him for like 5 minutes before he parachutes out. But everybody else, it's just you have no idea. And like the players that the kid was here, then he's jumped to like 3 different schools. And you're like, I remember that kid guy vaguely, and Charlie Baker, who was a good mayor, governor in Massachusetts. I can say that, is he coming from my side of the aisle? No. Was he a good governor specifically through the pandemic? Yes. Right. This is what democracy looks like, remember? All right. Government by compromise and consensus, right? We can do this. So shout out to Charlie Baker, who I thought would have been a good presidential candidate, just period. Um, we'll just leave that there. But he runs the NCAA now, folks. So Charlie, we need, but at the same time, it's gotten, you look at them, these schools have no allegiance. At the end of the day, their allegiance, and this has always been the case, but now it's just, it's just to the highest dollar. But it's, well, maybe people will just continue, and even though you don't know who's on your team, even the diehards don't know because it changes in a heartbeat. So you can't really connect with the players. We can never have a Bo Jackson, a Herschel Walker, a Charles Woodson, a Peyton Manning. You can't do that anymore. A Tom Brady, even though he wasn't the guy in we can't do it. Tom Brady would have played for 3 teams before the Patriots took him in the 6th round. As opposed to, and here's a connecting point that's good, right? As opposed to sitting and grinding it out at Michigan and for the Patriots before becoming the greatest of all time. That's another exceedingly important impact, for lack of a better word, that nobody or very few of these players are getting the eye of the tiger. It's just this perception that as soon as I don't like one thing, and my NIL agent, who's swindling me, by the way, with these agent fees, I'm out. Okay, so that's going to serve you where else in life? Once your high major time ends, which it will, where is that going to help you? Playing for Real Madrid if you do go overseas, or whichever country. There's a language barrier. They do things a certain way. You're all the way halfway across the world. All right, and one thing doesn't go your way, and you're gonna call your NIL agent to make it go home. You should see how some of these players are treated in other countries when they act in American ways. Nuts. Leave now. You can walk. Goodbye. Never mind all the geopolitical stuff that's going on and how people feel. We got to do better. We got to work together, folks. Good, bad. We got to work together. Starting with me. I talk the talk, but I I get as angry as everybody else, and start acting in a juvenile way. Just I'm no better. But right, this NIL, and this is talked about the last episode in terms of it's just pervasive at every level. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. Shout out to John Shire. Looks like he can play. Can still play. Brother's gonna jump on. Very good, very good. Let me stop sharing for a second here. Shout out to John Shire. Okay. Let me get the okay. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Put my headphones on. Should have had him out in the first place. Okay. So I guess we got to make picks for the tournament. And I'm Team Hurley, even though UConn is not. Right. So I'm always Team St. Anthony's, the miracle of St. Anthony's. But I'm kind of hopeful for John. I like Duke. I like Cooper Flagg. Duke, go get him. I actually know somebody that's on your team. Kelvin Sampson's overdue to get his shine. Mark Few, Gonzaga. Okay, that's kind of where I want to see. I want the wealth to be spread. UConn, as much as I want the wealth to be spread. That's what I'm looking for. So Kelvin Sampson would be tremendous. Bruce Pearl would be awesome. John Shire, new Jack, but he's proven himself. He can navigate, and he's gonna be, and he's out there. Duke, the Brotherhood, all the rest of that stuff. He's not crying, crying about this and that and the third. And coaches who've been making money, making bank, making more money than the president times 10. Nobody can tell you anything wrong. You're just you're a ruler in the state on the campus. And these coaches now complaining about NIL and they can't navigate, and the players. When you guys have been having, you guys got your Godfather deal, like, and it's, coaches have been just, and now because you can't control everything. I love the story Plaxico Burress tells when Nick Saban was at Michigan State. And Paxico was good player, never mind the fact that, his stories talking about, are you kidding me? In those days, however much it helped you to toughen you up for the real world, that's the good part. But some of these players, LeVar Arlington, who was my day's #2 overall pick, larger than life, playing at Penn State, he said some nights you had to find somebody. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Let me just get my headphones straightened out. Thank you for tuning in. Right now, we're talking college sports and NIL. Talking college sports and NIL.
Okay.
How's it going?
It's going good, man. Just watching these games. There's a lot of
Yeah,
basketball on.
you got the Suns game,
I'm watching college right now.
Arizona game.
Yes.
All right, I might. I was watching the Suns game.
I'm watching the UConn game.
Oh,
I
UConn's
got
playing
games
too.
on. Yep.
Oh man, I'm missing out. So, just to thank you for tuning in, bro. Shout out to got the setup, Celtics championship. It's good to visit over the weekend and celebrate. So respect in terms of the big things that are happening out in AZ, and you know what I mean. Just so credit. But look, so we're talking about NIL and college sports, and one of the things for me that I was just noting is I have no idea who anybody is on any team. I know the teams. I can, but I have the players. It's musical chairs, and I just that's a problem for me. I think it's a problem for a lot of people. You can't develop a connection with, never mind the one and dones, but just anybody at a school over some years.
I
You can
I would have to disagree, and the reason why I say that is you must just simply don't watch college basketball.
okay. I don't watch college basketball, meaning like for instance, the best player on ASU, this kid John Sanan, who's from the Commonwealth. He's from Fall River. Is he going to be there next year?
Probably not. But I mean, you can follow players more so in where they go. But I mean, like for instance, I mean, Caleb Love went to Arizona. Trey
Yep.
Townsend went to Arizona. You see, Michigan State got some dogs. Maryland got some dogs.
Indeed, they
So I
do.
mean, I've been tracking these teams kind of late. I picked up college later. I would say in the season, and St. John's is really good as well.
No doubt. Um, but you saw what Ricky Pitino said about St. John's, that he's going to have to get a new team next year,
Yeah,
and the team that he has
I
this
mean,
year primarily came from other schools.
that's the landscape of college basketball now with free agent system.
No doubt. And all I'm saying is, I like the money part of free agency and players having their futures taken care of and their labor power being respected and valued. Um, but from the fan side and from the marketing side, You know, it's wild to me. You know, like you're a Celtics fan. You have been a
Well, you're
Celtics fan
putting
through the
together
good
the
times.
best team every year. I mean, I personally think it's great. You're putting out the best team every year that your school can possibly put out.
I see that, but it's a new team every single year. So you can't get connected to a Drew Holiday. You can't develop a fondness for a Derek White. You know,
I
you
mean,
can't.
they would stay. Not every single player transfers after 1 year, but your smaller school stars, yeah, they're gonna probably transfer and go to a bigger school. 100%.
All right. One of the things that has been mentioned and I would be in support of is a 2-year contract. Players would sign for 2 years with the schools. You in favor of that or opposed?
I mean, I think that you don't really once you get contracts, I think you just let it be what it is. They're gonna learn. Players are gonna start to learn transferring. That takes a toll on. I mean, it's gonna be trial and error. They're gonna learn that transferring 6 times is not extremely beneficial for you.
No doubt. But if the incentive is to just get that money, just
Well, at the end of the day, the amount of college basketball players that go to the NBA, yeah, I mean, they deserve to get their money at this point. So
no doubt. I saw you mentioned Maryland, which I appreciate because Derek Queen or McQueen is plays for Maryland.
yeah, he's a monster.
Certainly a monster. Um, his team at his team over at Montvert was ridiculous.
You went to Mount Vernon?
Montvert, Montvert Academy in Florida.
Oh yeah,
He he
he was
played
with
everybody on his
Flag.
team. I'm looking for this clip here. Were 5-star guys. I don't know if I can
Yeah,
find
he
it
was with Flag and McNeely from UConn.
from UConn, and then the two other guys went to like Georgia and somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, their team was
Was
that's one of
all high
the
major
better. Yeah,
5-star guys.
that's one of the better high school teams ever put together. Yeah, personally,
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
because I think all of those guys will probably be in the NBA.
Trying to see if I can locate that clip.
And
But
this kid
again, to
from
your point,
Louisville.
I just I'm looking for some sort of connection. I'm glad these
Well, the
guys
connections with I mean, this is college, so the connection is always with the program, and more so with the player than it is with the program. So, I mean, I think that's always been kind of the structure of college athletics is you're gonna have your stars, but then they go pro, and then you have another star. That's how college works.
okay, so it doesn't impact you as much. Um, I am kind of looking at it from a little bit more old school, but being a history person, you can't. I'm kind of set in my ways. I'm gonna see because it was nuts. If I can get. Okay, let's take another because you made a good point. Let's talk about um because you noted that I didn't have this information. You talked about Auburn and their average age being older than the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I want to get your thoughts on this take by Bruce Pearl, and then tell me a little bit about what you think about Auburn.
Has not started a game and has not said one word to any of his coaches. His family has not said a single word because he was raised right. And look, guys, there are still great stories about kids that want to be coached. They want to be held accountable, and kids that aren't. I spoil my children, but I will slap the rotten right out of them. We all spoil our kids, don't we? But we ain't gonna spoil them rotten. And that's why I want to coach, and that's why I want my kids to feel they're loved. But when they do behave selfishly, or they do behave in such a way that either God's not going to bless it or it's going to bring the team down, we call it out. We call it out. And so, I mean, Todd's been great. And he's got great courage. As a freshman, the senior's done a great job kind of embracing him. And to play the entire game and to, have Butler guarding him sometimes and not have a turnover is incredible. Pettiford has not started a game and has not said one word to any of his coaches. His family has not said a single word because he was raised right. And look, guys, there are still great stories about kids that want to be coached. They want to be held accountable. And kids that aren't, I spoil my children, but I will slap the rock right out of them.
Okay, so let's hold up right there. So the player that he's talking about, I remember from the EYBL circuit, he played with Elliot Cadu, who's at North Carolina. Their team was just ridiculous, the New York Lightning team. That they were a force to be reckoned with. But just your thoughts on that statement by Bruce Pearl, and then Auburn's team this year, which you have noted, who is just all transfer portal guys that are in their mid to some older than 25. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I think what he is going through as a player will set him up for success for the rest of his life. That's trial and adversity that you really, because I bet you in practice he's working
right
every day. In practice, he's showing up and he's working. And everybody always, I mean, we're in such a boom superstar society that those guys that I would say practice hard with the team every day are the team. And the reason why teams like Auburn can win it all.
Yep. How about the fact that Bruce Pearl, he's Auburn, not necessarily a basketball power, certainly more of a football school, but has kind of stolen some of the shine and the limelight from Alabama, their rival, who has Nate Oates. And Auburn has been in the mix over the last 4 or 5 years. So I was talking about coaches that have been able to navigate NIL and make the transition, some quite seamlessly, while other coaches are rage quitting and getting out of college sports altogether. I would have no problem with Bruce Pearl taking home the Natty this year. I would have no problem with Kelvin Sampson taking home the Natty this year. I would love to see both of the, I want the wealth to be spread. What are your thoughts on Auburn as a number 1 seed and their chances in the tournament?
I think Auburn as the number 1 seed. I think they're going to go far in the tournament. Do I see them winning it all? I mean, they could very well win it all easily. They like I said, their average age is 25. So those are and the SEC. I think the national championship will be coming from the SEC. So I don't know. It might be Florida, might be Auburn,
Alabama.
Interesting to see Alabama's there. Interesting to see what's going on with Cooper and Duke.
Yeah, I think I think he might play. I don't see why he wouldn't play in the ACC championship game. I mean,
he's not
done
playing in the ACC championship. He's not playing in the ACC championship. So he's playing. They're getting him ready for the tournament.
All right, but how many ACC championship games is he going to have a chance to play in?
He's not. Andre, they said he wasn't playing. He's not playing. They're not even risking it
because he's not going to be at Duke next month.
But it's not worth him to play in the ACC championship on a half injured ankle and hurt it and miss the tournament. It's not worth it.
Okay, point taken. I just don't know what's the
I'm
not one of these. I don't believe in load management. You rolled your ankle. Okay, fine. Put some ice on it.
It's not a. He's hurt. You're not going to play somebody who is hurt when you're trying to win a national championship. This isn't the NBA playoffs. You can't just lose a game and figure it out. No, this is you need to make a run. I mean, the March Madness, you need to make a run.
Yeah, so I mean, he has 6
There's no
days.
benefit of no benefit of him playing in the ACC championship if he gets hurt. What is the bet? It's not worth it. It's not worth costing them the run at the national championship.
All right, point taken. But an ankle, you know, you roll your ankle, you put some ice on it, and your ankle is
No,
hit fine.
I'm not buying it. That you see, you've been too much bought into the NBA. You know, if someone's hurt, they're hurt. Like I'm not like we're not here to sit here, and I'm not gonna sit here and talk on podcasts speculating people's injuries. If they're hurt, they're hurt.
And my view
Put some
is,
ice on it. Nothing.
yeah,
Nope.
the Utah Jazz said, you know, there's a difference between hurt and injured. Okay, hurt and injured, and again, that's my perspective when it comes to NIL.
Okay.
I
Well,
always,
Bear
excuse me,
Bryant
not
isn't
NIL, it's
coaching
load
Duke.
management. I
Bear
always
Bryant
go
isn't coaching
to,
Duke.
excuse me, one second. I always go to John Stockton, who missed 26 games, you know, in the course of his career, right? So, Utah Jazz, Karl Malone, John Stockton, you play, and to your point, I get what you're saying. This is the odds-on number one overall pick. What I'm saying is he rolled his ankle. You know, I don't even know if he has a high ankle sprain, which is different. A high ankle sprain, you have a tennis ball on your leg. You know, a high ankle sprain is, I see what you're saying. If it's a high ankle sprain, if that's what he has, then of course not. Like, he'd be lucky to be ready by next Thursday or Friday, whenever the heck they
I
play,
mean
if it's a high
that's what
ankle
they were
sprain.
saying. Did you not hear what the coach said? We have to see how his body responds to what happened. Like I mean I just I don't like how the media today tries to portray injuries in a way where I'm not with. I actually hate it. I think it's wrong completely to speculate on people's injuries. We all watched it. I mean, you saw his ankle roll. You play basketball, so you know the type of pain. Don't speculate.
Right. So, what I'm doing is relating my own uh, minor men's league career. You know, there are times when I roll my ankle in a game, and of course, it's men's league. You know, we put all the time in it. So I finish the game afterwards. You know, my ankle is, you know, I rolled my ankle, so it's sore. You know, you do the whole rest, ice, compression, elevation. Um, and then I'm not missing it. I'm not, if I roll my ankle on Thursday, I'm not missing the Monday or Tuesday game. You know, back in the heyday when we were playing 2 days a week. So that's what I'm saying. If it's just an ankle sprain, there's a difference. I'm coming from the perspective, if you just sprained your ankle yesterday and the ACC championship is Sunday, so you have 2 or 3 days, like, you know, you have another day or two, and all that you're doing, because you're a rich college kid, all you're doing is getting your ankle back right. I think he could get back to 80, 90%
What is
by
the benefit of
Sunday.
him playing 80% and getting hurt? What is the benefit?
Okay, so again, as I said, my view, Utah Jazz,
All
John
right, I
Stockton.
understand your view. Like players don't get hurt. You want them to play every game like Mikal Bridges and get a a badge of honor. But I
Yes.
mean, awesome. Yeah, that's not happening. So once you start getting with the times, it's not that there is not. It's not even logical. So literally, it's not logical. Your point of view is not logical. It's not logical. It's not. Even to Duke fans, even to a Duke fan, they would be like, I don't know about the ACC championship this year. I'm okay with him sitting out.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess the people in LA are okay with Kawhi Leonard sitting out the majority of
I
his
mean, he's
multi-million
been
dollar
he
contract.
made a career out of it, didn't he? The people in Toronto were perfectly fine with him sitting out, weren't they? They sat him, came in the playoffs, and won them a ring. So
And since then, he's been sitting. And ain't no winning been taking place. So,
Yeah.
This idea of load
I
management.
mean, you use Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's probably one of the most injury-prone players in the NBA. So what are you saying? What does that have? He's been injury. He was hurt before then. He was hurt with the Spurs. So that's an invalid point. What are you talking about? He went to the Raptors hurt. So what are you talking about? They got everything they wanted out of him. That is my point proven. Perfect example. They sat him. He came into the playoffs and performed. That is logical thinking.
Yes. So in that
So
one
point
instance, load
taken, he
management
got a
was.
ring from it. What do you mean? He got a ring from it, Andre. So he has one of those rings from it, and an MVP and a Finals MVP. So that's where he is. First ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves it.
You touched on another point in terms of first ballot Hall of Famers, which I will get to after this, if you would like to discuss that, because in no way, shape, or form is Kawhi Leonard the first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But specific to the point about load management, you're talking about the
Yeah, well,
2017
NBA is not about an attendant.
the
It's not
20.
an
How
attendance
long has it
award.
been since the Toronto Raptors won the championship? It seems like it's been close to a decade. And since
Hey,
then, all he's been doing is sitting out to no benefit for anybody. So again, this load management perspective, and there's been some recent reporting, but even without the reporting, I don't see the value. I see players sitting and sitting and sitting and never getting healthier. You want to talk about Paul George? You want to talk about Joel Embiid? You want to talk about James Harden? Where are they when it matters? Still
so
sitting.
James Harden. James Harden's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay, this is something I brought up previous that I'm going to,
That's
again,
crazy. I don't care if he's made more free throws than field goals made. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Period.
okay, staying on the topic of load management, okay, before I move over, because you have touched on something with the Hall of Fame conversation that I do want to get into. Um, yeah, so back to what I was saying with load management. Anybody that ever wants to talk to me about it, I will continue to go back to Mr. John Stockton, one of the greatest point guards of all time, who 16 years played every single doggone game, and missed 26 games over the course of a 19-year career,
I still think
and is
Isaiah
the
Thomas is
NBA's
better, but
all-time leader in
I think
assists and
Isaiah
steals,
Thomas is
two
better.
records that will not be approached. I will talk about
Isaiah
a
Thomas
player like
is
Mikal
better.
Bridges. Okay, one voice.
Isaiah
I will
Thomas.
talk about
I'm
a
taking
player like
Isaiah
Mikal
Thomas.
Bridges, who
Hey,
again
I'm
plays
taking
for my
Isaiah
coach.
Thomas every single
Excuse me
day
one
of the
second. I
week.
wasn't done talking. Um, I will talk about, yes, my man, Mikal Bridges, playing for my New York Knicks, showing up every single night. It is a point of pride. And Tibbs does have people show up to work and actually work and run around and play basketball. Okay, that's another one of my bright shining examples. I will talk about one Mr. Allen Iverson, yes, who averaged 41 minutes a game, yes, who said we're talking about practice, not a game, not a game. Meaning, I show up to work, I love my job, I play the entire game because I love what I'm doing. All right, and had a full career, plenty of health, no major injuries that I can recall. So all the way back to Cooper Flag. All right. My perspective, load management, it's junk science. Junk. Okay. All of this resting, I can understand. I will load manage a
Hey,
Joel.
I'm not sitting here speculating on somebody rolling their ankle, yo. I'm really not. Like you watched him roll his ankle. I can't get with that. You watched him roll his ankle.
Yes, I've rolled my ankle before.
All right. So the dude is worth over $100 million. Who cares? Who cares? Let's talk about another subject. Dude's worth over $100 million. We have no doesn't speculate, rest, nothing. He's sitting out regardless. If he's in the NBA, they would sit him until the playoffs.
Yeah, and they would
Like
lose.
that's the way that basketball is. That's the landscape of basketball for the past 10 years. And you're still talking about John Stockton? Give me a break. Give me a break, man.
Proudly talking about John Stockton, because all I see in terms of load management
All right. Well,
is
you
more
know,
load management. Okay, one second. I
that
wasn't
day and
done
age of
talking.
basketball is over. It's
And
over.
let's just again, you make your point, and then I make my point. Or a little bit too much crosstalk. Um, so I will wait for you to finish, and then wait for me to finish, and then you can go ahead and say what you're going to say. Um, just so that we can kind of have a conversation rather than a shouting match, which is not optimal for anybody. Did you have anything further before I made my summary point?
Nope.
All right, saying none. Okay. Again, Cooper Flag. And my read, is that I just everybody is with the, you know, you have these bubble boy athletes, and every little injury, okay, becomes a big injury for everybody, and nobody ever seems to play. Cooper Flag is going to be at NBA training camp in in 4 weeks. All right, he went to Duke to win a national championship and have some semblance of a college experience. All right, you're not going to get a chance to play in an ACC championship game again. All right, Zion Williamson, when they came up short, him and RJ, they went to Duke to win a national championship. They got knocked out by a very good Michigan State team. They missed free throws down the stretch. What was Zion Williamson talking about? He was talking about coming back to Duke because he loved the experience and he wanted to be a part of it. Now, obviously, he parachuted into the NBA and was the #1 overall pick. But the point is, these games and these traditions matter. You can't get it back. All right. Anybody could just go to the G League and even though the G League's not a thing anymore because of NIL, you go to college to have that, even though it's only a year, experience that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Michael Jordan is not Michael Jordan if he doesn't have 3 years, not 1, 3 years at North Carolina with Dean Smith. That is the foundation for the greatest basketball player of all time. So back to Cooper Flag. Yes, I saw you roll your ankle. Boo hoo. I'm going to cry tears of absolute because you rolled your ankle and you're a basketball player. Oh my goodness. What is happening? Do we need to stop the presses because a basketball player rolled their ankle? Every basketball player knows what it is to roll their ankle. If it's not a high ankle sprain and you go to Duke, one of the most profitable universities on the face of the planet with the best coaching staff on the planet. I'm not done yet. With the best coaching staff on the planet. And the best training on the planet. You're getting the best treatment. It stands to reason that your rolled ankle, not a high ankle sprain, but a rolled ankle could be healed in the span of 5 days so that you can play, which is the reason you're at Duke in the first place. You can play in the ACC championship game and have an experience. Then you can play in the NCAA tournament starting next week and possibly win a championship. Or you could lose in the first round and it's all over in the blink of an eye. Just for an ankle sprain, for me, not a high ankle sprain, but just an ankle sprain, I think this is much ado about nothing. Put some ice on it, put some dirt on it, walk around and get out there and play basketball. Stop all this bubble boy load management. I can't walk down the street because I might get struck by lightning ridiculousness, okay? And live your life with reasonableness, but live your life and in favor of doing what it is you have the ability to do, which is play basketball with the best medical technology on the planet. Go ahead.
Yep. So I'm tired of everybody thinking that everything is load management when somebody gets hurt. If he misses 2 games, boo-hoo, cry me a river. The perfect attendance award is not, he has to miss a couple games. It is what it is. People get hurt. So the fact that you even play sports and you won't recognize injuries happen in the game of sports because you would play on a hurt ankle, Andre, hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. Like, think about that for a second. Think about it. Do you even fathom the risk is not worth the reward? And you don't even know how serious the injury is. So for you to say, oh, boo-hoo, load man, I think that's crazy. And I can't get with it. So I'm going to stand on what I'm saying. That's wrong of you to even say, oh, boo-hoo, nope. Because you give badges of honor for someone who shows up to, guess what? There's nothing in the record book for that. They don't, you know what I'm saying? No one's going to say, oh, he missed 2 games this year because he rolled his ankle. Oh, okay. The national championship chase starts in a couple weeks. Look at the big picture. You're too focused on little picture. And even when I brought up Kawhi, you said, well, what did he get? Well, what has he done? The man won a ring and he won a finals MVP. What more does he have to give you? For the city of Toronto, What more does Kawhi Leonard have to give to that city? 180 games? 360 games? Nah, not getting with it. Nope. You get what you get. And that's how I feel about that situation.
All right, good stuff. So agree to disagree there. Load management, two different viewpoints. Um, anybody like, comment, subscribe, but most importantly, the commentary on that load management certainly um, controversial. What the heck is going on? I'm sharing my screen. Hold on. Here. My IG messes up sometimes.
It goes on live.
It freezes. I hope it's still going. Can't see it. I'm not gonna end the video, but I hope.
Man, I hope Creighton. I hope Creighton loses in the first chance they get in the tournament.
The book is still going. IG. Sometimes when I open up another IG account, it gets a little bit wacky. So hopefully it's still where it needs to be. It's a bummer. Did you have anything else? You made some points about the Hall of Fame. When I hear first ballot Hall of Famer, that means LeBron James. When I hear first ballot Hall of Famer, that means Michael Jordan. I do not,
I mean,
I see
Steph
what you're
Curry.
saying with James Harden, but I'm a little bit stringent when it comes to the first ballot. I think a first ballot Hall of Famer has to be.
Does Rondo get in 26 next year?
No, Rajon Rondo's not a Hall of Famer. No, he can get into the Celtics Hall of Fame. He's not an NBA Hall of Famer. And Rondo, to me, because it's just the championship in 08. He's been a journeyman ever since then. So
he won another championship in LA.
Oh yeah, true.
Instrumental.
He won the bubble championship. So true, but no way is Rondo a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he's been an All-Star.
Yeah, he's been an All-Star. And he's been an All-NBA team as well.
He was an All-Star 1 year. I think the Celtics had 4 1 year.
Yep, he was an All-Star, and his career stats are 9.8. Yeah, it's probably gonna come down. Yeah, his last few years, he never really averaged more than 13 points.
Yeah, I'm not, and there's a little bit of bias here because I'm not a huge Rondo fan. Not a Rondo guy.
I'm a Rondo guy.
Yeah, he's not my cup of tea. So I think that's maybe coloring my views of Mr. Rondo. But I don't have him getting in. Period.
You don't have him getting in at all.
No, he's not. I don't have Rajon Rondo getting in. No. It's like you look at the big, as Kevin Garnett, I can put as a first ballot guy. Paul Pierce. But what I would like to see, like I can say Kevin Garnett's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. I don't know if Ray Allen's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, the only reason why he is because of how many threes he has.
Right.
Made.
Right.
He's like 2 or 3 and threes made in his career. I mean, that's I feel like that's first ballot. If you have top 5 most threes in your career, I mean, I know now, Lou Dort has more threes than Larry Bird, but it's just but Ray Allen did it at a different time.
Yes, yeah. So and this is no shade on Ray Allen at all. You know what I mean? I'd like to see the Basketball Hall of Fame mirror the Baseball Hall of Fame, which is
Oh,
th-
like
those
yeah.
those are two different viewpoints completely. I don't have a tremendous amount of um well, obviously I have respect for it's the Hall of Fame. Um Vladi Divac is not a Hall of Famer,
He's in the Hall of Fame.
but he's not a Hall of Famer.
So if you're gonna tell me if Vlade Divac's in the Hall of Fame, then yeah, man, you got to put Harden in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you
See,
got to put
and
Harden in there.
and there's the argument that it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. Fine. But the NBA, I mean, it's more of a lifetime achievement award situation where, like Vlade Divac, he might have been an all-star once. He was on, I don't even know if he won a championship because he came too late for the championships with the Lakers.
Was he ever an All NBA team?
I doubt it. Maybe once with the running gun Sacramento Kings, NBA All NBA third team. But a guy
So
that's not no,
see, that's what I'm saying. If Vlade Divac is in, then like Rondo is the only player to ever win a championship with the Celtics and the Lakers.
yes.
And if Vlade Divac's in, then that I feel like that builds a case for Rondo because Rondo got an All NBA team too and an All Star.
Right. And so that's why I'm vehemently opposed to letting in the Vladi Divac because it becomes this slippery slope where you know oh well this guy's in, so there's everybody's got to get in.
I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do the voting for the NBA, but I don't see a lot of people not getting in that are supposed to get in.
And I just feel like everybody, the NBA's view is just everybody gets in.
Yeah, baseball locks it up. Baseball. I mean, the fact that Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame is crazy.
Yeah, and in baseball, there's a storyline right now about Pete Rose. They may be um, too stringent at times, but you just certainly know, like no, like they're serious. And I feel like the NBA, am I saying they're unserious? I'm just, they're more. It's more of a lifetime achievement award. It's more you've been a good guy, you're a good
Well, I
ambassador.
think it's more of like because they do coach like I feel like baseball is really only the MLB. I could be mistaken. Now they put in college people for in the world in the MLB Hall of Fame.
No, 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 no. I no. The Major League Baseball Hall of Fame is for the pros.
Yeah, see, like the Hall of Fame is for they got it's not just for pros.
Right. It's everybody for the NBA. So yeah, I got a little bit distracted with the IG. We'll get that kind of straightened out. But like I said, um, I would like to see the NBA. Like LeBron James is the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant,
Steph Curry.
yeah, Steph Curry. That's what a first ballot Hall of Famer looks like. Everybody else, you got to wait.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. The
So
NBA,
like Draymond Green.
heck no, heck no, heck no.
See,
And
like so you see what I'm saying? So that's like it's crazy though, because I feel like Draymond Green is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
yeah, Draymond Green gets into the Hall of Fame the same way that Robert Ory gets into the Hall of Fame. You know, now Draymond Green's better than Robert Ory in that he was an All Star a couple
Oh
years.
man, Big Shot Bob is in the Hall of Fame for real.
I don't. I have to double check that, but he,
Is Big Shot Bob in the Hall of Fame? Because
he should
if
not
he
be.
is, if he is, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he were a
And
good player on a bunch of good teams.
no slight to him either. But Hall of Fame, I mean, he's made some huge shots. But wow,
So put him in the Lakers Hall of
yeah,
Fame.
he got like 10 rings. He's got a Big Shot Bob.
Put him in the Spurs. Put him in the. Put
He
him in
got
the.
7.
Yeah, he was in the right place at the right time 7 times.
He has been a prominent figure in discussions about Hall of Fame eligibility. With it, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. That's good for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because again, when you put somebody like a Vlade Divac or Robert Ori into the Hall of Fame, they just become the central argument for a number of other marginal players. That's their value. Their value is not
So
that
Robert
they.
Horry, yeah, they're saying Robert. Yeah, Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob is not. He's not. Does not have a Hall of Fame career. You can't
Yeah,
say that's a Hall of Fame career. I mean, he does have 7 rings, but like, no, he never led any one of those teams ever in points, in rebounds, in assists, in steals, in blocks, in minutes, in no statistic. So yeah, I don't. And the Harden argument is that they legit had to change the rules because of James Harden. The NBA had to change. They had to call a meeting with all of the refs and change the rules. Say we can't call this anymore. We can't call the rip through. And then you look at his. I saw an interesting stat today that really blew my mind. He has more He has more free throws made than field goals made.
stands to reason. He gets to the line. That's 2 for 1.
Man, when he was getting 2 for 1, when he was stringing off those, I mean, what did he average? What, 40, 39, like 38 a game?
Yeah, discussed previously. Mike D'Antoni unlocked James Harden. He was
Yeah.
thought of as a 2 guard before that, and Mike D'Antoni said, no, he's our quarterback. He's going to have the ball in his hands every possession, and everything's going to go through him. And that, was the turning point. And he was good in Houston, and Houston, OKC rather made a mistake in favoring Serge Ibaka over James Harden. So, let's just remember that.
Jeez.
Yeah. But James Harden, under the leadership of Mike D'Antoni, who's an offensive innovator to say the least, you might say offensive genius. Based on the
Offensive
fact,
genius.
yeah,
D'Antoni is a offensive genius.
the way that the NBA game is played now mirrors what he
Is
was doing with
D'Antoni
7 seconds or less.
mirrors what D'Antoni was talking about. Mirrors.
It's almost 20 years ago now.
20 years ago. If Steve Nash played in this era,
Yeah. So, you know, with that leadership, James, you got to see a side of James Harden game and just allowing what he did. And you saw signs of it when he was with OKC, but he was more of an energy guy, come off the bench, spark plug. That was more his role in OKC. But him being the
he was
point
young
guard,
too. He was like 19 years old.
yeah. So the fact that he has more free throws, the way that he plays, the offensive juggernaut that he was with D'Antoni. Um, I'm not surprised. I can't put James Harden in as a first ballot because he has a Tracy McGrady. Um,
Is T Mac in the Hall of Fame? Yes.
I think so. I think he got
Yeah,
in.
T Mac is in. T Mac's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame for sure. Yeah. He was inducted into 2017. 7-time All NBA, two-time NBA scoring champion. So does Harden have scoring champion?
He,
Because he's got 7. He's got 7 NBA All Stars. I'll tell you that.
I believe he does have a scoring championship.
And Harden's been on first team. I feel like Harden's been on first team too.
Yes, he's been All NBA first team.
As T Mac. I don't think T Mac has ever been All NBA first team. Hold on. Yeah, he was 2 times. 2002, 2003. And then 3 times All NBA second. I mean, his career highlights are almost identical to James's. He probably James got more All Stars and more probably first teams.
Then T Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's close. Yeah, I think Well, hold on. I it's unfortunate for T Mac because he was the odd man out when he went to Orlando. You know
Yeah. That
that should
cost
have
him.
been
That cost him a lot of. That cost him years.
yeah that should have been a championship team if they bring in Grant Hill and Tim Duncan, and it turns out he was the only he was the only one that showed up. So he was actually a little bit I think he was better off in Toronto having Vince to him and Vince together versus by himself. As was noted, I don't believe he was the best he could
Oh,
have been
okay.
with
So
Houston.
Harden won MVP, and he got a scoring title in 2017.
Okay, so I put Harden above.
He actually won the scoring title 3 years in a row.
Yep, D'Antoni, no doubt. But to me, again, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Only
But
because
If T Mac is, then Harden. I mean, T Mac ain't never won no MVP.
listen, I understand what you're saying. That's why I'm not a huge fan of the Vlade Divacs being in the Hall of Fame because they become a gateway to marginal players now receiving consideration and getting into the Hall. Again, back to baseball. Baseball tells people no, and people are upset, and people throw fits, and baseball says, "Okay, fine, no." The other thing about baseball that is if you don't get they only let the amount of people that reach that stand. They don't have a minimum number of people that have to get in. So sometimes nobody gets
Yeah,
in.
you have to get you have to like get to. You almost can like you can almost like tell who is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, yeah, I mean, baseball Hall of Fame right now in the MLB. I'm probably missing players because I don't watch baseball as much as I would like to. But I think like performances like what Freddie Freeman did in the World Series,
Yep.
that gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I think yeah.
But it's baseball. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's baseball. So like a guarantee, no, it's not. A guarantee is like Otani,
Right.
Mike Trout,
Yep. Mookie Betts.
um, Mookie Betts. Those are your three first. Paul Skeens from and that dude from I know he's real young, but that dude from Cincinnati, unreal. L.A. De Cruz,
Yes. So it's no shade on Freddie Freeman.
Aaron Judge.
Yeah. That's those are Hall of Famers, and then you have play and it's like everybody. It doesn't have to all be Mount Olympus because then you would just have a very empty.
But I feel like baseball, you have to have like been on Mount Olympus and like stayed there for a little while.
Yeah.
Like not just a little while. I mean, you got to Mount Olympus and you stayed there. It's not like you declined. Like did Albert Pujols get in?
I don't think he's in. I don't think he's gotten in yet.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. I gotta let me do a quick little search.
No,
I don't think he got in.
not yet. Yeah, to what you're saying,
Okay, his eligibility is in 28, and he's almost certain the first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's not eligible till 28.
okay. Is Derek
Yeah,
Jeter a
he
first ballot
definitely. They
Hall of
say
Famer?
703 run. Yeah, he's definitely 703 career home runs. Yeah, he's definitely a first ballot.
Albert Pujols, I think with him it's tough because he didn't win anything. And he was dominant. He had a stretch of dominance
I mean,
for,
he got three-time NL MVP, two-time World Series champion.
he won 2 championships.
Yep. He was on that Cardinals team.
Right, right, right. Okay, let me shut the heck up. Let me shut the heck up.
Yeah, I was about to say he got three. Yeah, three. Yeah, he's got two ring. Yeah, he's
I'm,
gonna be
I'm
first.
remembering. I'm remembering him. After the Cardinals.
After the Cardinals, yeah.
That's my
I
bad.
don't think that would hurt. I don't think that hurts him too much.
Yeah, the other Albert Pujols. That's a bad take. Can't remember that he won those championships with the Cardinals. Um, yeah, so I would say,
College. That's, I
Derek
got some
Jeter's a first
sleeper
ballot Hall of
teams.
Famer.
Who?
Derek Jeter's first ballot.
Oh, absolutely 100%.
But then
There's a few. There's a
Alex
few. There's a
Rodriguez is
few of
not.
them. Alex Rodriguez.
No,
A-Rod is.
he's linked to steroids.
Yeah. Yep. If you link to steroids, you actually don't get in. So
And the other thing, so you Derek Jeter, yes. How about Jorge Posada?
Jorge might have been linked to steroids.
All right, let's say he's not,
Yes.
but is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Is he a first ballot? Yes, because he has so many. He has like what, 5 rings.
Yeah, and I say the Jorge Posadas. Now this is interesting for me, and this is kind of because we went to a World Series game, with that Yankees team, um, so this is how I break it down. Derek Jeter, first ballot, yes. Jorge Posada, first ballot, no. Mariano Rivera, first ballot, yes. Bernie Williams, first ballot, no.
David Wells, obviously Roger Clemens.
David Wells, not first ballot.
What about who else?
Andy Pettit, no.
Oh, Andy Pettit.
No. Maybe he
Oh
gets in, he's not
man,
first ballot.
Manny Ramirez first ballot.
Yes. Only thing with Manny, though, Manny had a brush up with steroids.
David Ortiz.
No. David
No.
Ortiz, steroids.
Oh man, baseball don't play that, man. If you get caught on that juice, if you have any link to that juice, you're not getting into the Hall of Fame.
I'm not saying, and with those two, I'm not saying they don't get in, but, it's different.
It's different with baseball because they won't like. I mean, Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. It's so wild to me. He's really not in the Hall of Fame. It's wild.
And Barry Bonds didn't need steroids to get into the Hall of Fame.
He didn't need steroids to get in the Hall of Fame. So wild to me. Before his career was a Hall of Fame career, before he started hitting all those home runs.
And Barry Bonds, his situation is that he is a scapegoat. He's not the only scapegoat, but he is one of the scapegoats, along with Roger Clemens and obviously Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. And shout out to ESPN 30 for 30, 9.79 about Ben Johnson, which anybody that wants to understand what happened in 1988, which I remember specifically, which is the year you were born, close to that time because it was the Summer Olympics. But I remember specifically being in the house in Claudia Court, watching that race, rooting for Carl Lewis, looking at Ben Johnson and being afraid. I remember looking at I was heartbroken that Carl Lewis did not win. But I remember when they showed Ben Johnson, I was like, that's a big dude. I was like, Carl Lewis, I was like, that is a big dude. And I was nervous. And then he lost and I was upset. And then, he was, but go ahead and check out 9.79. Anybody, that needs to understand the full story. The bottom line is this. Yes, Barry Bonds did not need steroids. Roger Clemens did not need steroids. But their perspective being in baseball.
They needed steroids
No,
at that
but
time.
hold on. But my point is that people of that stature were looking around and saying, what, like, what are we doing? How everybody knows that Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, everybody, and there's nobody saying anything, and there's no enforcement. So if I'm Barry Bonds, he's saying to himself, this guy Mark McGuire, who couldn't hold my jockstrap in a suitcase, is getting all of this shine, and I'm taking, if I'm Barry Bonds and I'm taking a back seat, even though he wasn't really taking a back seat, honest, because it would have he would have been vindicated. But at the time, he's like, I'm taking a back seat to Mark McGuire. Are you kidding me? So he says, I'm going to level the playing field. I'm going to do exactly what he's doing and show you. So he hit 70. I'm going to hit 73. He looked like a figure from a cartoon. His head was bigger than an NFL player with a helmet on. It was ridiculous. It was
Man,
it was absurd.
do you remember the home run chase with McGuire and Sosa?
I do, and that that was quote unquote brought baseball back. Baseball was looking for that after the lockout, and people were angry. People left baseball, and the Hall of Fame, excuse me, the home run chase to break Maris's record. That's what was the, you know, I was gonna say healing. It wasn't a healing, but it was the event that brought baseball back into you know the forefront of being the national pastime. Now it was all propped up by performance enhancing drugs, but nobody wanted to think about that. They were just worried about quote unquote getting the game back on track. And that's my thing with Barry Bonds, where he's become, Barry Bonds is looked at in the same fashion as Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Jose Canseco, where no, it's different because those guys were out front, like those guys, you know, even if they were steroids from day one, and Barry Bonds was just a supreme talent from day one that got overshadowed and then got upset and reacted to prove a point, and then now he's put in the same category, which is kind of crazy. Like if you want to talk about steroids, talk about Jose Canseco, who's a little bit, I don't know if you were young when
No,
Jose
I remember
Canseco.
Jose Canseco.
Yeah, when he was with the Athletics, and that was my favorite team, and you had the Bash brothers, and they look like literally. And this is the thing. This is the thing that I bring up. For me as a sports fan, that not specific to baseball. I love the Cape League, but not as specifically a baseball guy. But this is something that that always sticks with me. I remember going to that World Series game. Shout out to Pops. Shout out to giving us the tickets. Going, being there. We lost to the Marlins. It was bad, but we were in the building. It was crazy. But even before that, just being a sports fan, I remember being in college when Alex Rodriguez came to the Yankees, and it was the coolest thing in the world because I was back in New York and the Yankees were good, and I love sports, and so I was covered, and it was crazy. I remember looking at Alex Rodriguez at third base, who looked like Superman, just so strong out of his, looked like, like this. And I remember looking at Derek Jeter, and Derek Jeter looked like a cross country runner. He looked tall and lanky. Which, by the way, if you see Derek Jeter in person, like he's not a small dude, but you can't really tell that. Like you know what I mean? Like these guys that are just really cut, and they look from a distance like they're more spindly almost. But then you stand next to him, it's like this guy is a physical specimen. But I remember looking at A-Rod, who was just had that Superman physique, and then looking at Derek Jeter. And the Yankees also had a first baseman that they had that was linked to steroids. I forget the guy's name that came in afterwards.
I mean, the one guy that I think when I think of steroids is like Jeff Bagwell from the Astros.
Yeah. Oh, didn't he lead the NFL? Didn't he hit 50 home runs leading off or something crazy?
Yeah,
He hit 50 home runs as a leadoff hitter. Yeah.
That was a crazy time in baseball. Every team had a juice head.
Suns pulling away. Gonna get an easy win against Sacramento. I hope the Suns can get into the play-in and maybe make some noise. But back to so that's my thing with baseball. Barry Bonds, he's a different category, and he gets kind of everybody, and that's why you know that's why I don't want Manny Ramirez to have any to his I don't. But it's ridiculous that you know and David Ortiz is a great guy. And he had the unfortunate situation in the Dominican Republic, and I'm we've kind of forgotten about that, but he's back on his feet and he's doing well. But like David Ortiz is linked to steroids, like period. Manny Ramirez is linked to steroids, period. It's kind of a secondary thought. They're not. Here's my issue and then I'll kick it over to you. You know what I mean? It kind of bothers me that Barry Bonds is like a face of steroids. When we think of steroids, we think
Yeah,
of Barry Bonds. That's
I
that's
agree.
not correct.
I agree. I agree. I agree. But
No, if you
I
think of
mean,
steroids, you should think about Jose Canseco. That's steroids in baseball. Jose Canseco, yes. Mark McGuire, yes. Sammy Sosa. These are guys who had decent talent. They were not Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and Manny Ramirez were supremely talented. They were gifted just by themselves, just 5-star, generational, if you want to use that word, players. These other guys, McGuire, Canseco, and
by the
Sosa
way, Dre,
were
while we're talking about baseball, I got to tell you, I just got this MLB The Show, and I think it's time that you come over to the Xbox world.
okay on PS5. But thank you. But the show, that game was been I've been done love the show. That game's been awesome for a minute. Back in the PlayStation, like the regular PlayStation days, that game was awesome. So I can only imagine now. That this takes me back to Nintendo, like Triple Base Unloaded or whatever the game was for Nintendo that we used to
Yep.
play. Baseball where you could like hit home runs over that was crazy. Shout out to
Well,
Nintendo.
I'm gonna send you after we get off this. I'm gonna send you a clip of me hitting a 500-yard home run into the Field of Dreams.
Send it. Also, let me know when you jump on. If you jump on Twitch, if you whatever you're doing on Twitch, I'll definitely check in and jump into
I'm
the
about to get back on the Twitch, man. On Twitch.
jump into the
About to
comments.
get the camera set up. I should have asked you while you were out here to get everything set up so I can, because I need to get my camera set up so I can just log in and just turn the camera on and be on Twitch.
And just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that. It takes a little bit of you just got to get your setup. Once you get your setup straight, then you just kind of it's plug and play.
Yeah, I just need to get my setup straight, and then
You know.
and I'll be gaming with the camera on. I think that will take it to the next level.
Yeah. How you want to break it down, so on and forth. Um, But bro, I don't
Uh,
know how much longer you want to, hang in. This has been a great, we've been 2 hours, a little bit of technical difficulties. So on the gram, the live stream was a little bit, but you can certainly every other, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, we're straight through. We'll work on that technical situation with the gram, so that episode, so everything is straight through there. Bro, I'll let you conclude in terms of any further, final takes or something possibly for next episode that you want to discuss, and we will pick up where we left
next
off.
episode, I want to do bracketology.
No doubt.
I mean, I know we're. I mean, I know that's probably selection Sunday. Wait, selection Sunday is this Sunday.
Yeah, so early next week we can talk. Anytime like Monday, Tuesday. I think some of some marginal games start on Wednesday, or maybe even Tuesday. But still, Monday, Tuesday, even to Wednesday, we'll certainly do some bracketology.
I'm telling you, my sleeper team right now is Maryland.
This kid Derek Queen is a problem.
Derek Queen, yes, Derek Queen, and then they have. I mean, they have one of the best starting fives in the country.
Willis is keeping an eye on things in the neighborhood.
Hey.
Keeping things. We're gonna let him out in a second. We went for a pretty good walk today, but we'll get him out moving around in a bit. But bro, thank you so much for checking in. Certainly,
I appreciate you for having me. I got the I got the Red Sox to be
You
on.
ready for
So
opening
you know what
day?
it is.
Ready for opening
All
day
right, Dre.
with the Red Sox?
Yes, sir.
They brought in Alex Bregman.
Yeah, man. I'm about to play a couple games with the Red Sox. See what's going on.
Yeah, man. Jump on. Let me know. I want to see if you get on the
I'm gonna jump on Twitch so you can check out what the show look like. All right.
check on the show. Yes, indeed, bro. Thanks for
Appreciate
being with us.
appreciate you, bro. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure joining Sand City, watching it grow and grow and grow and grow.
Keep it after it.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, no doubt. I'll see you. See you on Twitch. Okay, folks. So we're gonna leave it there. We certainly have much more. Um, we got the NFL to talk about. Uh, NBA is in the right. NBA is building up to the playoffs. We're not there yet, but we're starting to see these races, starting to come into shape. Teams fighting for the play-in, and then just a lot of teams that are in transition. Milwaukee Bucks, I'm sorry, they're in transition. All right, we've seen it. We know where it's going, and then are they going to stay together? You know what I mean? Um, or are guys going to start to make some moves and be on to their next destination? For the realignment in the NBA. Some teams with some major firepower are in the doldrums. They're middling, okay, or less than that. If you're talking about the Suns, they're not even middling. But I think about the Bucks, who are just kind of middle of the pack, first round win, second round out of there, unless they get hot and make some noise. But it doesn't seem that way. Seems like in the East, you got Cleveland that's just in their own place, Boston next to them, and then the Knicks after them, and then just a bunch of teams. In the West, OKC is in their own place, and then you just got a bunch of teams: Denver, the Lakers, Memphis, Houston. It's just a bunch of blah. Um, and if you're a star player on one of those teams that's just in the middle, you may want to start fresh. That's all I'm saying. So we'll cover that. Um, Certainly, you got to say that Thursday when the tournament starts off, it's got to be one of the best days in the year in sports, if not the best day. So we will do some bracketology and go from there. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. I hope everybody's having a good. It's a Friday night, so a little bit late, but it's Friday, baby. So hey, we can move and groove and do what we do. I hope you're having a good evening and a good shifting of gears going into the weekend. I'm your host, Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. Thank you for tuning in to Sand City Sports, and we will see you again the next time. Peace!